Down the straight, so David Howard has taken the lead going into Brundle and Nelson. But later on the race, Tom Hardy comes back through to regain the lead. Then the BMW goes back in front. So David Howard led for a few moments in that defensive straight with all that power, but he had to start much earlier than Thomas Hardy. Has to stop his BMW to through for a huge ride for the leader. Thomas Hardy going so aggressively through four. We saw him overtake on the outside there yesterday, but sideways on that occasion, coming through Forum Curve, trying to put as much daylight between himself and David Howard to try and give himself a long straight advantage to the Jaguar, which will catch all the way down the straight. But I think Tom Harvey's done enough here to stay in front of David Howard at the start of lap 2. Mark Lucock comes through in third place, still ahead of Stephen Primmett. In 5th is Simon Jeff, 6th is Mark Cholton, and then it's Alan Greenhalgh in 7th overall, leading pre-66s by just half a second over Piers Grange. In 9th position is car 83, which is addition, I think, 86 even, so that's Colin Claxton. And up to 10th from the back of the grid is up Mark Osborne in the Triumph Dolomite. So Mark Osborne flying along in that car, last to 10th in just a lap. So that's rather good going, but the leaders turn their way out of Palmer on the second lap, and David Howard is starting to come under pressure now from Mark Lucock. So Mark Lucock and Stephen Primmett, the two Ford Escorts, after a slower first lap, are starting to speed up and starting to chase after David Howard there in second place, and they're kind of taking Simon Jeff with them in the Golf. So the top 6 cars not separated by very much. See, Roger Stamford had more problems in his Lotus Cortina. That car's been pushed behind the barriers and out of the race, but that shouldn't cause a problem for everyone else. But over second, up towards Williams, Mark Lucock looking to the inside of David Howard. He breaks later into the right-hander and he goes through. So into second place goes Mark Lucock there at Williams corner, but the likelihood is the Jaguar will be able to just power past down the Bentley straight, and that has already happened. So David Howard retakes second place on the run down towards Brundle and Nelson under the bridge. And that's where Tom Harvey turns through as the race leader. David Howard second, Mark Lucock third. Mark Lucock is re-challenging to try to get himself back into second position. Perhaps that could happen at Forum Curve, where they're heading off to the moment. So they're back to second and third in nose to tail and to the outside. Look, Mark Lucock a long way around the outside of Coram. The Jaguar just can't carry the speed of the Ford Escort can, so they're side by side, and up the inside through Murray goes Lucock to take second place again. But I think the same thing's going to happen down the long straight. The Jaguar is just going to blast back through, and indeed that is happening. So Tom Harvey seeing this all in his mirrors and probably quite pleased about it, that David Howard is keeping Mark Lucock and Stephen Primmett at bay, with Simon Jeffney fiddling. Howard locks up in the Jag, but gets his car turned through Ritchie without too much of a drama. So it's the same order as it ever would, with Mark Osborne's Triumph Dolomite now up to 7th overall from the back of the grid. So he's continuing to progress, but there's a big gap now to the rest, so that might be as far as he gets. Meanwhile, for second, it's overlapping again as Mark Lucock tries again to get past David Howard down towards Palmer. I don't think there was really room to make that work for him, so they turn their way out of Palmer corner, and as they come out the corner, the Jaguar is still ahead. It's still David Howard in the XJ12 ahead of Mark Lucock's Mark 1 Escort. So they are now 2.5 seconds behind the race leader, Tom Harvey. Although in Sector 1, Tom Harvey's made a bit of a mistake, so the lead gap has come down by about a second, and there's 4 cars chasing, being headed by David Howard's Jaguar, who I think, frustratingly for Mark Lucock, can't really find a way through successfully. Down into Oggies then, the right-hander they turn, and again, this is where Lucock's right back on the tail of the Jaguar, but even if he does pass, he knows that he'll just be repassed down the straight, so doesn't challenge this time through Williams' corner. They think David Howard might have made a mistake there because he was a bit wide, and has that allowed Mark Lucock through? It has. So David Howard did go off the road at Williams, but he's powering back through. But this might be enough for Lucock to hang on to second place this time. And it's pretty much 3 cars as one heading into front. David Howard is still in front of Stephen Primmett's alongside Mark Lucock for third, so side by side behind the Jaguar this time, but they stay as they are. So Howard still second, third is Lucock, fourth Primmett, and fifth is Jeff. But those 4 cars absolutely as one. The as they turn their way in the corner. Luke again looks to the outside through Coram curve. Again, kind of gets alongside David Howard, but this time backs out of it. He decides not to go through. And then they come out of the corner. Jaguar will be able to pull away once again. But out front it's still Tom Harvey. He's pulled back away from that second place battle, which was rather more feisty on that lap, but they're all still in the same order. 3.5 seconds first to second, and for third, Stephen Primmett goes up the inside, and he gets ahead of Mark Lucock into Ritchie's corner. So a big bold move up the inside by Stephen Primmett, who was a driver that set the fastest lap yesterday, and he takes third place then into Ritchie. So they break down into the Wilson hairpin, and it'll be Stephen Primmett's turn to see if he can find a way past David Howard. As they come out of the corner, that's still the order. David Howard a little bit further ahead. The 366 leader, well, that's still Alan Greenhalgh. He's pulled away now to by 1.5 seconds to Piers Grange. Third in that class, falling away, is Robin Slater. So that top three is rather as it was. Race leader overall, the pre-83 leader, Tom Harvey, turns his way through. Agostini for third. Challenge there for Stephen Primmett. He was looking up the inside of Mark Lucock, but couldn't find a way through, although he's right there, he's right behind, trying to urge his way alongside as they head into the Hamilton corner. And they are nose to tail. They've been dropped by David Howard on this lap as they're battling each other so much, but Stephen Primmett is hanging on there ahead of Mark Lucock, with in fifth position Simon Jeffs and Mark Charlton's Mark II Escort now just starting to fall away from them. So we're on lap 4 of what should be a 7-lap race for the Classic Touring Car Racing Club, with the race leaders heading down the Bentley Straight, being headed by Tom Harvey in that BMW E21, and then David Howard in second. Third moves in third place for Primmett. Fourth is Mark Lucock. Fifth is Simon Jeffs. Mark Charlton sixth, and there's a bit of a gap to the Dolomite for Mark Osborne. Then the 366 leaders turn through that sequence of corners with Alan Greenhalgh ahead of Piers Grange. So the gap comes down a bit, and that's a second between the Ford Falcon and the Ford Mustang that are running in 8th and 9th positions overall. 383 leaders turn their way out of Murray to complete 4 laps, and Tom Harvey completes the lap with a fallen lead margin, because David Howard in the Jaguars just set the fastest lap of the race at 2 minutes 17.025, which is the fastest lap he's done in that car all weekend, and the lead gap therefore comes down to 2.6 seconds. Stephen Primmett and Mark Lucock still third and fourth battling in fifth position. Simon Jeffs is sixth, now with Mark Charlton with Mark Osborne catching them, so there could be some more battle there. The 366s, there's less than half a second between Alan Greenhalgh and Piers Grange that turn their way through Ritchie's corner together. So the 366 leaders turn their way down towards the Wilson hairpin, with the Ford Falcon still ahead of the Ford Mustang. But just like yesterday, in the middle of the race, Piers Grange is the quicker of the two. But a similar power output to both of the cars, so we'll have to do the passing through the corners, you'd think. Meanwhile, the 383 cars are just coming out of the infield section, still in the same order, but second to third gap is coming back down as Stephen Primmett is recapturing David Howard, who goes a bit wide there at Oggies, but he held on to second place, so he was 1.5 seconds ahead at the beginning of the lap, but now